Okay, it's June the 18th, 2016. Sun moon hologram on cluster nucleus. I'm just watching it wobble back and forth. I'm also looking for things to go shooting by like that real fast. Orbs I'm talking about. There's a lot of them lately flying in the vicinity of the moon hologram up in space. Just shooting like bullets, faster than bullets, across the hologram, or in every which direction, all over the place. Most are just visible as they cross the moon hologram, but if I move back, I'm sure I could get some as well, shooting past the moon hologram that are glowing. That's happened recently a number of times, but right now I'm just looking for those that'll show up black like that last one just did. I guess I can move it back and see. Okay, even from this distance you can see that it's going in the wrong direction, the whole thing. It's not even going towards the right, and it's making those huge jumps, which is absolutely incredible that something that large can just move around back and forth in space all on its own, if it were an object, and going around the planet. And I'm positive that that's under intelligent control, the entire thing, and that this is no coincidence or any kind of accident, and that there is definitely not a sunlight reflection of any sort, but that the whole thing is glowing on its own, and it's creating a whole lot of energy through some sort of an electromagnetic exchange of energy, which I've explained in many of my previous videos how that works. But it's not a nuclear reaction of any kind. It's more powerful than any nuclear reaction that we can even conceive about, or anything we can imagine. This thing is a star, and it works on the same principles as every other star, and this is not a physical object, which we think is our moon. I don't think that kind of a thing exists at all. It's just been a tall story told by people to make us believe there was one. I don't think that was ever the case, that there was ever a moon that was a physical object. I think this thing has been around for who knows how long, longer than our planet, and it's going to stay there longer than our planet because it's a star, and one day it could devour our planet when it gets larger, because it's growing day by day, layer by layer, and these entities in space, which I keep saying they're orbs, they're making sure that this thing will get larger and more powerful and become a much larger star than what it is right now. Even though it's older than our planet, considering the lifespan of most stars, this is still like in its baby stage or infancy stage. It's just in the stages of development, what it takes to become a fully blown star, a large star. And I think one day this thing will be bigger than our sun, because as our sun comes to its end, this is going to be the one taking over the solar system as the major star. So that's what I think, and that's the way things look from just watching things for the last 10 years. That's what they look like to me. And this is not any kind of an accidental situation. It's been planned by someone or some beings to us on eternity, but for them it could be just a split second, because they move so fast and they live so long that to them time, the concept of time, which is the time I'm living by and everybody on this planet lives by, the concept we made for ourselves, and we call it time. To them it's meaningless. They don't even have a concept like that. I'm sure they're aware of a concept like that because we're aware of it and they're aware of us, but in terms of how they think about time, I don't think they think about time. To them it's irrelevant, and that's like a wasted energy to think about things like that, because it's only a concept, it's not a reality. So there goes another one. See those black ones, they just keep shooting by. You just gotta be at the right distance range with the camera, because a lot of them shoot by and you can't see them because you're not in the right at the right range. Some are only visible at a certain range. That's why you miss like a whole lot of them and you only catch one here and there as you move the camera focus closer or farther back. But having said that, now it's time for business and see what's going on up there. See how much of it they changed. Okay. Well, I filmed this 2 nights ago, and it's all different today. The whole thing is changed or turned. Either way, it's not facing the same way, and this is just a matter of 2 days, and the whole thing is turned a whole lot, and the whole surface has changed. Even though it turned, it's still changed. The parts that remain there that were there 2 days ago are different today than they were 2 days ago. So this thing changes on an ongoing basis, and it's never the same. Never. Because it's not composed of physical objects or any sort of matter. It's composed of energy and energy organisms, which are living organisms, and they change, minute by minute. This thing changes, or second by second, I should say, because for them, a second, they could live your whole life in a second or less, because they can travel so fast that they can make that second last forever. Because the faster you can travel, the slower the time passes. And if you want to talk about a concept of time, then you have to remember, what Einstein said about speed versus time. And these things can travel very fast, faster than light, because they are light. They are organisms of light energy, pure energy, and they can travel faster than that because that's what they are, and that's their starting point, the speed of light. When they start off, that's what they start off at. When they go slower and they're so black like the last couple I just did, that means they slow down their normal velocity, because their normal velocity is so fast it's invisible, by naked eye, or even an instrument like the camera. You'd need, some sort of super camera that can slow that speed down to the point where you can see it. But since I don't have one, I'll have to just, live with what I have and take what I can with this one or the other cameras that I have. I see no large orbs on the surface tonight. Maybe just a few right there. And look how sensitive it is as soon as I point the camera right to them. There's a big one right there. I'm just gonna move it to see. There's a few, but and those are its sensitive parts. You can see by the way it's just, look, it's starting to take the whole thing out of the picture. I'm just gonna set it up and leave it there. Yeah, that's not a good spot, I know. I'm terrible. I don't think they like me very much. See, when you don't have the right angle, it doesn't bother it, but watch. Once you get the right angle, it didn't catch on. It went by too fast. All that. Well, it's traveling so fast I can't even set the camera on it. It's really starting to move. Look how fast it's going. It was just going the opposite direction before. Now it's moving so fast that I can't keep it in the frame. Now it knows it better do something, but I missed it. Okay, it's gonna keep moving, so I don't get that one. Okay, See, when you get it, it doesn't like it. Okay, so those wasps that I just showed a video of, well, my wife called people to come in and, douse the whole place with all kinds of poison. And I hope I don't keel over now from all the smell. There's so much, there's gallons of it, poison all over. I don't know how well that'll work. I didn't see any of them drop like flies, but they did fly away. All the ones that could. I don't know what happened to the ones that were still in larva stage in the nest, if they survived it or not. But boy, they really sprayed the hell out of that whole area and this entire balcony and everything. If there are still spiders and wasps around, that means the poison does not affect them, because I tried doing that myself a few years back, and I couldn't kill them with any sort of poison. I spent, I don't know, one time like $200 on just cans of spray, lots of cans, and I was buying all the best sprays for, all kinds of different insects that I thought had the strongest poison and everything, and I'd spray it directly right at them and nothing ever happened. They never died or anything. So I don't know if this will work, but we'll see in the next couple of days how that works out. Because today gallons were sprayed of really strong stuff. I can barely breathe out here. It's so strong. So I'm sure they'll find a home someplace else if that turns out to be the case. There's lots of trees all around here. There's lots of other homes. There's no reason for them to really even stay in this area. This was a nice area because of the trees, and there's a lot of food sources for them. But there's a park like 10-minute walk from here that's full of trees, and it's a huge park, the largest in Toronto, so I'm sure they'll find a nice home there or around that area and still have plenty of food and everything. And they're not gone. They may move, but they're not gone. See those right there? See, when you point to the right ones, look at that, it's going up. See that pulsing? You can see it there when it starts to turn green, and you see that fuzz like that. So the whole thing is sending out pulses. So those things, that could be a wasp right there. That thing right there. Boy, does it look a lot like the wasp I just had in the jar. That's its head right up front. And then I can even see the wings and the body and the legs right there below, spread out just like the other one in a reef, upside down reef, like out wide. That's a wasp. So there's I never seen spiders and wasps, so close together, like and up there they have all these natural born killers, like the killer wasps and all these huge spiders everywhere. Wow, that looks like a wasp too right there. See there on the bottom part, you could almost see the antenna bent back just like the one in the jar. And the wings, that's a big one. And I wonder what happened to that spider that is down in this area. There's a big spider over here somewhere. See all those structures like that? That wasn't there before. That white structure going straight up like an arrow. Okay, it's June the 18th, 2016. Just watching the moon hologram pulse and that blue orb making it pulse like that. Okay. Every time that thing shows up, the moon just it does that. So there has a big burst of energy. Okay. So that blue orb has a lot to do with controlling the moon hologram and not just its appearance, but its behavior and movement and things like that. So I don't know if that's the control system for it, or I don't know exactly what the connection is, but I know that thing is in control of what happens on the moon hologram itself and how it appears to us and how it just appears. And you can see that it's not always in the same place, that blue orb. Sometimes it's close, other times it's farther away. And like you see when the moon glows, like really bright, that orb sort of like clenches up into a tighter ball. And the moon relaxes, so does the other orb. So there's a connection of some sort where when the blue orb shrinks and goes bright, the moon hologram gets big and bright. So one goes small, the other one goes big. And both go bright at the same time. Okay. Something like that. Just watch, I don't know. It's not always the same, but that's basically what just happened just a second ago. Watch when the blue orb shrinks and goes bright, the moon expands, or the moon hologram expands. So let's see if that's gonna happen again, or if it's just gonna not do that because I said so on purpose, just to make me be wrong. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, I hope you can still see it. It's still there, but just off to the side there, upper left corner side. Back it up, see if I can pick it up better. There. Okay, did you see that? You see both of them go bright, but the other one went smaller. It shrank and went brighter. And the moon hologram went brighter, but it got larger. So it's like one contracts and shoots the energy into the other one, you see? See that? Okay, so this is a good distance or a good range to show that aspect. Because it doesn't work on every range setting. You have to be just at the right range. These are multidimensional spaces and multidimensional entities, and you have to range the camera to get into the right dimension by gauging the distance, because that's the way it seems to work. At certain range you can pick off a dimension that you need to pick off or pick up on camera, which will not show up, just like the orbs when they shoot past the moon. They will only show up at a certain range, otherwise you miss them. They won't show up on camera. This is the same idea. Okay, you have to be at the right range. So you have to have a camera with a lot of zoom so that you can go either really close or move back like this, but you have to have the option. And you have to have a good lens that will pick that up. Not every lens will pick it up. It has to be a very clear and a precise lens. See how that shrinks? See? When the blue orb expands, the moon goes smaller. When the blue orb contracts and gets brighter, the moon grows larger and brighter. Okay, so that's the process in a nutshell. It doesn't have to be always like that, because sometimes the blue orb is behind the moon hologram and you don't see it at all, or there could be clouds covering it up and you won't see it, but the moon will go through those contractions and get brighter or less bright. But if it's a clear night like tonight, there's no clouds or anything, and you can see both of them, because this is the right distance tonight to look at it from. Okay, so for those of you who think that this is lens flare, you're wrong, because there's an anti-flare, an anti-glare, an anti-everything already set up in the camera. This camera does not do that. It does not glare or flare or anything like that. It doesn't have reflections. None of that. I took care of all of it and took measures to protect the camera from making mistakes. Okay, it will not make a mistake. I am positive. That thing is really there, just like the moon hologram, but they are not in our dimension. That's why they're holograms, because they're not in our dimension. I'm getting another flashing light at the bottom. I don't know what that is. I can't see it by naked eye. I don't know what it is. But I've seen a couple of flashes at the bottom, and it's not the camera giving me signals or anything. I don't know if that'll show up on film. They're just a few faint flashes, but I don't know if that'll be picked up. I don't know if they were strong enough to be picked up, but I just wanted to say that I saw them, just in case they are picked up. You see how far that thing's moved off, and it's still doing the same thing? It's not always the same distance, but it still has the same effect. And it doesn't always work, you know, like it doesn't keep going over and over and over at the same rate. It does it every now and then it stops, then it does it again, then it stops, then it doesn't do it at all, you know, like, and then nothing happens because it's gone. It's not always there. It's still there. I can see like a faint outline of it, but it's not always there. Okay, so it might be just, it might have gone into yet another dimension, or it might just leave. But neither one of them is, you know, mainly in our dimension. They're multidimensional, I can't say objects, they're multidimensional images of living things, living in cluster, in cluster societies, in worlds that we don't understand out in space, and in dimensions we can't perceive properly, that we get holographic images like this. So basically that's it. So none of this is really physically real. You can see it, you can capture it on camera, but you can't go there because you'll never really find it, even if you took a spaceship right to the moon. You would never be able to land on it or anything because it's not a solid object, and you either go right through whatever energy that is if you could survive it, or else you would be annihilated before you even got close. So it's not what you think it is, and it's you know, not a physical object, and neither is that blue orb. Okay, you see how far it is now, and it's still like glowing. Now that's far. I mean, that's like where a star would be normally, and there is a star that comes around about that far away, but it comes on the other side usually. Sometimes it's on that side, but usually it's on the right side of the moon hologram. You see the effect that thing is having on it? So this is going to be the video for tonight. Plus, just before I shot a few orbs shooting, you know, past the moon hologram, I'll add that in as bonus, and that'll be it. But I just wanted you to see that blue orb, because every time that thing shows up, it's trouble, or it, you know, does strange things like that. But it's either trouble, the moon acts up like crazy, like if I was to go closer to it, it would be jumping all over. And I've had enough videos of it jumping all over, and I'm tired of holding the camera on it. I'd rather just sit tonight and just observe and not work the camera at all, just watch. And because this is also important, because that orb right there, the blue one, that affects everything about the moon hologram, everything. And it's important to watch what it does and how it does it. See, now it's invisible, there it goes. Okay, when it really powers up the moon hologram, that's when it becomes visible. But it can power it up even remaining invisible, but when it really does it hard, that's when it has to show up, because that's when it glows, because it itself is creating so much energy to power up the moon hologram that it glows, and that's why it shows like that on the camera. It shows a stronger image and not just a shadow effect. So that's basically the working model for tonight, and why that things are going on as they are and as they appear on the camera tonight. And please do not comment that this is a reflection or flare-up or anything like that, because it's not. I'll tell you right now, don't bother. I'm not going to answer comments like that, because I know that that's not it. See, the farther away it goes, the you know, fainter it is, even though it's still able to power up the moon hologram. The moon hologram is not expanding as much. The energy level has dropped off by 50%. Okay, you don't see the moon hologram getting like it was getting twice that size before. Now it's less, but it's still getting powered up. So there's still an effect and a connection, but no, I mean, there's still a cause and effect, but it's not like before when it was closer. Okay, it's dropped off by at least 50%. If you see that little blue orb suddenly get really bright and the moon go big, then you know it's giving it its one last big push and then it's gonna just go away somewhere else. I don't know where else that is, but it'll probably be into another dimension, or just move off in space farther out and farther away. See, the farther away it goes, the smaller or the lesser the effect. Okay, so that means it's really there. Both objects are really there, because the distance is proving that they're really there. Because when it was closer, the effect was twice as strong, and it showed on the moon hologram and on the blue orb than it's showing now. So the distance between them is really happening. They are moving apart from each other, and it shows in the effect. Okay, so you have the cause and the effect on camera, and that proves that both objects are real, but they're not in our dimension. They are real as far as we can see them, and we can see the effect that they have, but they're not in our dimension, and they're not physical objects that we can touch or do anything with. We can just watch and wonder what they are, and that's it. That's our limitation. That's our dimensional limitation. Finally, that thing will turn into a little white star. I guarantee it's gonna move off and just start glowing like a star, because that's probably what that is. It's just blue right now. Could be the same little white star that shows up every now and then that I showed a video of last week. It's just a different color. I mean, that wasp I had in a jar over here was turning colors on me while I was filming it. It was doing it right on the spot. So why couldn't stars do it? I know that they do it, and I've shown that many times, hundreds of times, if not thousands, on videos, that they do turn color or change color. Anyway, the thing has moved off too far, and the moon hologram is close to going off the screen. It'll stay there for at least another 5 minutes, but I think you've seen enough. I've seen enough. I've said enough, and I'm gonna go to bed. I think this is it for tonight. The wasps have been sprayed with tons or gallons of insecticide today, because the building manager came and decided to get an exterminator, and I didn't see any of them fall down or anything, even though they were being sprayed by gallons of stuff, but they did fly away, and I don't know if any smaller ones survived in the nest, that were still in the nest, but who knows? I don't know. See, that's the last attempt from that blue orb to power up the moon hologram. Now you don't even see it anymore, it's gone too far off, but it still has that much power and that much control to blow that thing up. Anyway, that thing has a lot to do with how the moon hologram acts and behaves and reacts and everything else. And even how big it looks, as you can see. Okay, that's it for tonight. And I now wait for the thing to go off the screen, because we all know it well in just a short time. But you see this, the effect now? That little blue orb has a lot of energy, even enough to spare and power up another star, which is the moon hologram. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Have a good night or good morning. And this is Super Mush Mouse. Thanks for viewing this video.